Hi, I'm Demi Stevens, founder and CEO of You're the Book Press and editor-in-chief of Self Pub Magazine, here with Michael Simpson today to get a little bit of a behind the author scene and feel. Welcome, Michael.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
Have you always lived in Pennsylvania?
No, my family grew up, I was raised in the Baltimore area.
In Baltimore?
Northwest Baltimore.
So are you an Orioles fan?
I am. Orioles fan. I was always a football fan too, but we didn't have the Ravens back then.
Oh, okay.
So,
Oh, so you were pre-Ravens.
Right, yeah. The Redskins were the closest thing to a home team at the time.
Excellent.
So then I became a Ravens fan, kind of inherited them.
Baseball and football?
Yep.
Okay, good. You haven't, you don't get under the influence up here of any other sports teams?
No, I have a lot of friends that are from Pennsylvania, so it's a fun rivalry between us.
Excellent. So I understand that when you moved up here from Baltimore, that was kind of a critical time.
It was definitely a transition, a big change, because I was just finishing 9th grade, and it was over the summer of getting ready to go into 10th grade. So I was, the high school age, just starting to get into girls, making friends, getting ready to come up on learning how to drive. And then to go from Baltimore to kind of out in the farms and cornfields area was a big change. My parents are still living there, and I still spend a lot of time there with them when I can.
It's probably easier to learn to drive in that area than it would be in the city, though.
Yeah, it's different. It's definitely different. You have the more structured, stay in your lane, the red lights, block by block, versus kind of the wide open, windy country roads.
Oh, you're saying we don't stay in our lanes here.
Well, a lot of the roads don't even have lanes. It's just a blacktop road.
You should see where I grew up. These are like highways compared to that.
And then I've moved to York, and I live in York.
In York, Pennsylvania. Now. Welcome. After 50 years, they'll start treating you like a local. How did you first get started writing?
I've always enjoyed it. Even as a kid, I liked learning to write in school was fun for me. The vocabulary and the spelling and the handwriting assignments and kindergarten, first, second grade. I enjoyed them. I liked them. And I just got into crossword puzzles, any kind of writing. I used to write my own little, being a sports fan, and I was also into the wrestling, WWF wrestling and things like that. So I would write my own little tournaments and stuff. And
nice.
Either flip a coin or roll dice. And
you didn't diagram sentences for fun, though, did you?
No.
Okay, not that hardcore.
No, but my mom always read to us, so I was always into reading, too. I just loved reading. I would read everything I could get my hands on. I was one of those kids that read encyclopedias for fun.
Did you have a set in your house?
Yeah, my parents bought me one, and I loved it. I read them all.
I remember ours. They came in one volume at a time.
Yeah.
Bought at the grocery store.
Yeah, I don't know if they got them at the grocery store or not, but we would get one volume at a time. I enjoyed reading them.
So in addition to writing books, I understand you maybe...
Yeah, the book, actually, I started out writing songs before I wrote the book. I used to listen to songs as a teenager and think to myself, that was a really good line, but I think it would have been better if they said this. And I would almost kind of edit and adapt and change songs that people were already doing in my head to the point where I started writing some of it out because I would say, oh, that would have been good if they'd ended the line with this. And then the next line could have been this. And I kind of started that way. And then I just kept going and writing my own songs.
So you're just writing the lyrics, or do you have music with them?
Just the lyrics.
Just
and
lyrics.
Then I eventually started looking into finding the music to go with them and things like that. But I would just fill up notebooks of songs.
All right, so if we have any listeners today who are budding guitarists, pianists.
Need any ghostwriters or anything like that?
You might want to hook up here. That'd be a great connection. And then in addition to the book writing and the songwriting, I have this inkling that there's something Hollywood in your future.
I did write a screenplay too. I finished that up a few years ago, and I'm working on the second one.
What's it about?
My brother had a job as a telemarketer, and he made a joke one time that this would make a funny story, a funny movie, and it kind of stuck with me. And a few years later, I for a short term did that. And
click.
Yeah, and I didn't enjoy the job. I couldn't really get into it, but it inspired a lot of funny, creative ideas to kind of go with. So it's about kind of the hilarity from the call center end, calling people, and then what it's like on the recipients of the calls and what's going on there.
Wow. Are there like any funny scenes you can relate where like your favorite hang-up scene or the why somebody didn't want to talk to you? Or...
Oh, can't think of any off the top of my head, but there are a bunch of good ones. And the main character is kind of based off of my brother, where he's so hardworking and he's really humble and he just keeps his head down, does a good job. And a lot of times they don't get a lot of the glory.
No.
Right? So the main character is kind of based off him, and there's a lot of scenes where he makes calls and he just gets nothing but bad results on the other end. People don't want to hear it. They don't want to listen. And he keeps trying, and it's pretty funny. There's a lot of funny scenes. And I tried to do it where there's a lot of kind of outrageous comedy, a lot of stuff like that, a little over the top, but in a funny way. So it's one of those kind of movies.
Wow, sounds like you two have kept in touch. Are you close?
Yes, we are, yeah. He lives in Tennessee now, and he just had a baby about a year ago.
Oh, well, congratulations if you're at home watching today. Wonderful. So I have a kind of curious question.
Okay.
I know that you came out with your book, and then your mom also published a book recently.
It's a really cool story.
What was that like?
That's a touching story for me. My mom was a writer when she was young. She used it as an escape. Her childhood was kind of crazy, and she used writing as an escape. She was actually on the verge of becoming a professional writer in the late 70s. She had some interest on a book she was writing. She had some interest, but then she got pregnant with me, and kind of gave it up.
Oh.
And then now, 30 years later, when I got my book done, it inspired her to start working on that again. And she got hers done now, which is really awesome for me.
Giving birth to 2 books and 1 child.
Yeah, but it's almost like it came full circle. Like she put it on pause to have me, and then raise my brother. And now we're writing together.
Oh,
and going over, kicking ideas back and forth, and I'm helping her proofread her copy and stuff like that.
Oh, what's that like to proofread your mom's work?
It's really amazing. She's a way better writer than me, I think. She is. I mean, her book, it really captures, all the characters seem authentic, and from, one is a Western cowboy kind of person, one is completely different, and they all seem authentic, and it's almost like I worry if she has multiple personalities or just a really good imagination.
Who are some of your favorite authors or influences?
She was always a big Stephen King fan, so we had Stephen King books on the shelf, which I liked, even at a young age. I wasn't scared of them, per se.
She's such a sweetheart. I can't picture her in the horror realm.
The book, it scared me, which I think is pretty common for a lot of people, but I really liked his writing style. It was very, very descriptive from the people's point of view. Instead of describing what's happening, he described what they thought and how they felt, which I liked a lot, and I got into that. I got into the Hardy Boys books a lot when I was a teenager. I really loved them.
Yeah, but I bet you didn't have the Sean Cassidy poster in your bedroom like I did.
No, but I did have probably 30, 40, maybe 50 Hardy Boy books, something like that. I liked them a lot. As I got older, Dean Koontz is a good one. I like some of his books.
Well, thank you so much for just sharing a little bit of a hint of what it's like to be a writer.
No problem. This is awesome, and it's something that I enjoy, and it's brought my family a lot of good times together lately, and we're gonna keep pursuing it and trying to see what we can do with it. But it's something that we just enjoy, and it's something we can do together.
Well, then let's send a challenge out to our viewers today. We would love to see some of you as family members connect over writing.
Family writers.
Maybe it's time to drop a gauntlet of your own and say, I'll start my book if...
Yeah.
Yeah.
That brings up another good point, too, that me and my mom are working on a collaborative book.
No.
Where we're going to do a collection of short stories that we've put together and kind of going back and forth between me and her throughout the book of short stories.
Oh,
So
we'll definitely have to have you back to talk about that.
Nice. And yeah, that's a good challenge for the writers to get together. And even if it's not each doing your own book, to work on a book together. Maybe have siblings working together or a parent and a child working on a book together.
Yeah, you could do a compilation. There are no rules that you can't break.
Yeah, be as creative as your imagination will allow.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
No problem.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.